Good morning! It's day 2. We had very healthy 7-Eleven pastry breakfast. And once we finished eating, it was time to leave the island. We crossed Notojima Bridge yesterday and rode around the island to our hotel on the north side. Today we have 100 miles, starting with leaving Notojima, heading up the east coast, around by Noto and then Suzu, rounding the farthest point of the peninsula, and finally coming down the coast to Wajima. We packed up all the snacks. We need a lot of calories for a day like this. Got our bikes ready to go, and then we were off. The first thing we had to do was head across the other bridge on Notojima, the twin bridge. My legs feel stiff. We started a little bit early so we could beat the hot sun. Even in September, the sun here is pretty relentless. Japan is known for its humidity in the summer, for sure. We got doubly lucky, though, because not only did we start early, but it was also a fairly overcast day compared to the day before. It was a peaceful weekend morning, and there was a lot of people out fishing already. Finally, we reached the twin bridge. At 650 meters in length, this is just over half of the length of its twin, the Notojima Bridge. There's a really pretty view of the Nanao Bay. And from there, the biggest day of riding that weekend began. I got into cycling through mountain biking and didn't start doing long road rides until I met Zeb, so 100 miles is still a pretty big deal for me. So I was excited but a little intimidated about the distance for the day. This wooden structure is a flathead mullet watchtower, which is not a hairstyle, but it's actually an old style of fishing. It's a 10-meter tall scaffold that used to be used to watch mullet, which is a kind of fish here. And the person would sit at the top and pull in the net when they could see that a school of fish had come by. These were commonly used from the Edo period until World War II.
Oh, there's the bridge over there.
But now they keep the towers there for tourism and historical reasons. We pulled off the road for a minute because we had to see the Noto Great Buddha of Longevity. Look at how majestic he is.
Big boy.
Yeah, here's the other big boy. There were lots of cool pathways and temples around this park, and we did a lap to get back to the entrance. Wow, this is very tall. Everything was really peaceful, and also it was free. Oh, look at that. Once we were back on the road, we were heading up to central Anamizu. There were a lot of tunnels, but luckily there were lights inside and they're always pretty well lit, which is pretty different from in America, where you always need to have a headlight to go through the tunnels. A lot of times when we passed by rice fields, it smelled really good, kind of like popcorn, because the rice straw was being burned.
I guess then they spread the ash on the field, maybe?
I looked it up after this trip, and the rice straw is burned to dispose of the leftover straw, but also to control diseases and pest problems between crops. Yakihata is also the term for rotational cropping, where you'll burn an area to renew its nutrient balance and use the ash as fertilizer. No. We stopped to refill our water here for the first time that day, and we got both water and some sports drink mix. We were only about 20 miles in at this point. The route went down through this really cool neighborhood and wound around on these really narrow roads, which was a great example of how tight the roads can be in Japan. On the right is something called hazaboshi, which is a traditional agricultural method where you'll dry rice sheaves on wooden stilts.
We're a quarter of the way there, 25 miles in, and we're somewhere between Anamizu and Noto. It's really pretty out here. So here's where we woke up today, on this island, and then we've been going up here, and we're on this little spine right here. This is what we have left, going all the way around to Wajima.
Zeb brought his drone, so we took a quick break to admire the scenery. And then we were back on the road. We rode through a lot of small fishing towns, and the main industries of this peninsula are of course fishing, but also agriculture like rice and salt. Tourism is another one of the really big industries in this area. Since the train lines don't come up this far, they stop at Anamizu, it felt very remote and peaceful as we rode around.
That's a really nice temple.
It was really cool to be able to see more of the countryside in Japan. In June of 2011, the whole Noto Peninsula was designated as part of the globally important agricultural heritage systems by the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations. It was selected as one of these sites because it protects biodiversity through its traditional agricultural, forestry, and fishing methods. It has beautiful scenery, an emphasis on conservation, and cultural and religious festivals related to farming that have been conserved throughout history. At this point in the day, we started seeing some of the riders from the Tour de Noto route as we overlapped them near Noto. They were going clockwise and we were going counterclockwise, and they were on their second day of the 3-day tour.
We stopped in some shade, we reapplied some sunscreen, and Zeb is looking on his phone for the great squid. It's a little contentious because they spent a lot of COVID relief funds on this statue, but they say that they've made all of that back and more by the tourism that it's brought in, so we're gonna go see what the squid's all about. We found him!
This is the Ika Kingu, or the Squid King, which is a 13-meter long and 4-meter tall monument outside of a roadside center in Noto. This bell was supposed to be a lover's bell in the park a little bit outside Noto. Maybe it'll bring us good luck. It was kind of fun to overlap with the Tour de Noto cyclists going the opposite way, because as we were passing each other, a lot of them would wave. About 60 miles in, I was starting to feel pretty tired, and Family Mart came to the rescue once again. So we pulled off and we got a bunch of snacks. I think I ate like 3 onigiri rice balls and a sandwich. I had let myself get into a bit of a hole on nutrition, which wasn't a great idea, but this did bring me back.
I'm a little bit cracked.
Oh no.
This is gonna revive me though. This one has salty pickled plum inside. So I need some salt.
But after this stop, I was back on track.
It's like the woods. Oh, next time we should go to the Blue Cave.
Ride my bike right in the cave.
Satumi is a term for coastal areas that have a very strong connection between people and the ocean, and they use the land in a way that protects biodiversity. Because of this, the ecosystem that's here in the Noto Peninsula is sustainable, and it provides a habitat for lots of different organisms while also being beneficial to the humans that live here.
Wow.
Seeing all of these scarecrows was a little bit startling,
Oh, he's sad.
but it was kind of cool. It must have taken someone a really long time to make all of them. Not totally sure why. The last 20 or so miles on our 100-mile route were definitely the most hilly, so that was a bit tiring.
Wow, look at this.
But it was also the most beautiful.
Oh, look at it. It's real nice and hot and nice.
Did I mention it was humid?
Okay, we started here and now we're here and we're going here.
This was a more detailed map of the Suzu area, but unfortunately we were just passing through on our way to Wajima. This descent was probably my favorite part of the whole 100-mile day. We had just been climbing and I was really hot, and after we crested over that hill and we started going down, the breeze was cooling me off and we were met with just the most stunning views. It was so rewarding. Noto is the only region in Japan to still produce salt using the Agahama method, which is where seawater is brought up in buckets from the ocean to the salt fields, and it's a very labor-intensive way to make salt. Apparently the methods of salt making like this date back to 1596. We were really close to Wajima now, thank goodness. But there was one more thing that we had seen on Google Maps that we thought we might have to check out. On Google Maps it was called Godzilla Rock, and it was listed as a destination or something you should stop and see. I'm not totally sure, but I think that this small rock is Godzilla. I mean, I can kind of see it. I don't think I would drive out here and stop for this. What do you think? The last 5 miles were the hardest.
We're only 3 miles away, but I'm very shaky. So we stopped to get some sugar and some water.
But we were so close to the end. Finally, we made it to Wajima. I could not wait to eat some food. And we were staying at a really cool guest house Uminoya, which was a renovated townhome. Because it was a 3-day weekend in Japan, there was not a lot of hotels that were available, so this was actually a shared room. I was a little worried about the state of it, but it was actually really clean and very quiet, and as far as shared rooms go, I don't think you could have gotten much better than this.
Zeb is so strong. He pulled us right along. And look, we've made it. I'm so pleased. I can't wait to shower. We're sitting outside like little wet rats because there's still about 10 minutes left until our 4 o'clock check-in.
Yeah.
But it's a very quiet street. Hopefully we're not freaking out the locals. Yeah.
Continued our streak of beating the hotel check-in time,
Yeah.
so it's good.
We averaged 16 miles per hour, which wasn't a very hilly course, and also that's not super fast, but it's fast for me for 100 miles. We'll see if I can go 70 tomorrow.
After we checked in, they showed us the separate garage where we could store our bike, which was really nice. Luckily, we got the 2 bunk beds on the far side, so we had our own little corner over here, and the beds were really comfortable, and you had a curtain so that you could close it for privacy. The first thing we did was go next door to the restaurant that was actually attached to the guest house. We also got some cold ramen that you dipped the noodles in a vinegar mix.
We're going with our towels to the onsen spa.
We were given coupons to use the onsen, which was really nice. If you don't want to go to an onsen to fully submerge your body, they also had a free foot bath that was in the town. And they even had this little pet bath, so you could let your pets put their little paws in it or drink from it too. We saw a cute little cat friend and a peaceful temple on our walk to the onsen. The onsen was very nice, made me very tired. We got a second dinner and more stuff to drink at the Family Mart. 100 miles, very hard, very good. I'm very glad that Zeb pulled me around all day. We'll see how the final leg goes tomorrow.